So we're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down, from this hands and knees action. We're going to lift up and get as much height. So I want you to lift your heels, lift your sitting bones, lift your abdomen, so that you can get a lot of height in this. Now, you may have noticed that when I started here, I've got quite a short stance, all right? And I want you to have a reasonably short stance. So when you start out, your arms will be vertical, your knees will be just very slightly behind your hips. Okay, so we'll do this together now. Shoulders and elbows over your wrists, knees just slightly behind your hip bones, not far. Feet hip width apart, tuck your toes under, press down into your hands and lift your sitting bones up. So lift high, lift as high as you can. So now the arms are sloped back, your shoulders are no longer over your wrists, they're further back than that. Lift your heels, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, lift your frontal pelvic bones and lift your sitting bones up. High. Imagine somebody had ropes at the top of each of your thigh bones and was pulling you towards the ceiling. So that's the action. That's the lift that you need in this. Okay, coming down. We can come into Adho Mukha Virasana. So you've got this lift through the frontal pelvic bones. Stretch forwards with the hands. Keep that abdomen back. If you need to put your head onto bricks, that's absolutely fine. So extend forwards. The buttocks need to stay back. So if your buttocks lift away from your heels, then definitely have some support under the head, as we did before. Breathe. Okay, and sitting up. So I want you to just sit onto the heels, those of you who are able to. Bring your heels together and see if you can sit down on your heels. If you're sitting on the chair, then just watch the next demonstration. So we're going to now take the hands further forwards. So now the hands are a little further ahead of the shoulders and the knees are a little further back. So this is going to make the stance quite a lot longer. You're going to lift up and get that height again. Get the lift, get the height, get the lift, and then we'll come down. So let's do that together. Come onto your hands and knees. First of all, have the knees underneath the hips, have the hands underneath the shoulders. Then walk the hands length forwards and walk the knees about 2 or 3 inches, so about 6 centimeters backwards. Then press down into the hands, middle fingers pushing down, knuckles pressing down, inner elbows facing one another. Tuck your toes under. So some of you will find this quite uncomfortable because it's now a long stride. So lift. Lift the sitting bones, lift the kneecaps, lift the thigh muscles, lift your frontal pelvic bones, lift your heels. Breathe. So make sure your inner elbows are facing one another. Just have a quick look. Make sure that your inner elbows haven't swung round to the front. Those of you with hyperextension may find that that happens. So inner elbows, the eye of the elbows facing one another. All right, and release down. We're coming back into Adho Mukha Virasana. So I'm actually going to use these 2 bricks for my head. Extend forwards, hands forwards, head down. Breathe, fine inhalation, exhalation through the nostrils. Now keep that abdomen back. All right, and coming up. So we're going to come again into Adho Mukha Svanasana. This time the legs are going to be, the stance is going to be more normal. So we take the hands beneath the shoulders, we walk them hands length forwards, tuck the toes under, lift up. And then we're going to bring the feet together. So we're going to get this lift, we're going to push back and then we're going to take one leg at a time up into this action. And then we're going to come down. All right, so let's try that together. Come up onto your hands and knees. Wrists underneath elbows, underneath shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and take the hands length forwards. Press down into your knuckles, middle finger pointing forwards, hands shoulder width apart, elbows, inner elbows facing one another. Start out with the feet hip width apart, tuck your toes under, lift up. Lift your sitting bones up as high as you can, lift your kneecaps, lift your heels, lift your thigh muscles, frontal pelvic bones lifted, abdomen to spine. Now bring your feet together and push back at the roots of the thighs, push back, push back. So now the soles of the feet are starting to lengthen and broaden along the floor. I'm not worried about the heels coming down, we're just getting that, keeping the lift in the abdomen, the lift in the frontal pelvic bones. Now, draw the toes of the right foot back. Keep the left hip engaged, so don't let that left femur head swing out. Take the right leg up, keep the pelvis level, so broaden the gluteal crease of the right leg so that you're not tipping the right toes to the right. Bring the toes down. Now if you need to rest down between times, you can do, otherwise we're going to go straight to the other side. So left leg up. So keep the toes facing the floor, keeping the right hip engaged, extending into the inner heel of the raised leg. Breathing, fine inhalation, exhalation through the nostrils. Bring that foot down, come down, toes together, heels apart, Adho Mukha Virasana again. So this time I do want you to use the bricks and I do want you to use the blanket. So the blanket again. Held, you lift up, extend forwards. Over the top of that blanket, feel the opening in the back of the pelvis, rest the head down and extend the arms forwards. So just let the breath flow, fine inhale, fine exhale. And now releasing out of the pose. Now this might be too high. So most of you are aware that you can use some foam pads onto this support. Maybe you've got a sofa or something that you can use at home. So I'm just putting this blanket over the back because we've had the walls decorated and we want to keep them nice. So you might find that at home you want to do the same thing for the same reason. So I'm just going to show you how this is going to work. So we start out in Tadasana, mountain pose, and take the right leg up onto that brick. Now if that's too high, then you lower the support. You can always put your heel onto the back of the chair or onto the chair seat. The belt comes around the ball of the foot. Straight arms, straight legs, chest lifted. Okay, let's do that together. So get your height first of all. Judge what height you need to use. All right, stand in Tadasana. Lift your chest. Take your right leg up onto the support. Place your belt around the ball of your right foot. Make sure that this standing leg foot does not turn out. It tends to turn out if you take your foot too high. So if it turns out and you can't get it to turn back to face forwards, then bring your height down a little. Straight arms, straight legs, and draw this thigh bone back into its socket. Breathe. Keep your standing leg hip engaged. Don't let it kink out to the side. So again, those with slightly loose joints, you've got to really engage that femur head, ball and socket joint. Okay, release the belt, release the foot, and take the other leg up. So again, this standing leg, the foot has to broaden onto the floor to give you that stability. This outer hip has to move in. Don't let it kick out to the side. Place the belt around the ball of your left foot. Draw the left thigh bone back into its socket and imagine you had a weight hanging from a rope at the root of this thigh. It's got to move down to the floor. Breathe through the nasal passages. And releasing. Well done. And bring that foot down. Just stand in Tadasana for a moment. Re-establish your equilibrium. I'm just going to put that belt down so I don't have to hold on to it. Extend into the fingertips, lift the chest, lengthen the tailbone. Take the weight right back into the heel bones. Okay, and releasing. So we're going to come now for Adho Mukha Svanasana to the seat of the chair. So I'm just going to show how that's going to work. I'll take that brick off. You're going to put your hands onto the seat of the chair. You may need to bring your mat out further. You want to keep your feet on the mat. So you press into the seat of the chair and you push back with your legs. So let's do that together. Okay, push down onto the seat of the chair. It doesn't matter whether it's a yoga chair or a standard dining chair. Either is fine. And then start to walk back. It may be that your heels come to the floor working in this way. So walk back, walk back, walk back. Now look at your heels, make sure they're not swinging in or swinging out. Lift your frontal pelvic bones. Lift all four corners of the kneecaps equally. Lift your thigh muscles, lift your frontal pelvic bones. Breathe through the nasal passages. Again, imagine you had ropes around the tops of your thighs. This time they're being pulled back, 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 back. All right, and walk the feet forwards to come out of the action. Well done. We're going to come into a Malasana forward bend on the seat of the chair using some bricks. So this time, those of you who've been working like this for your Adho Mukha Virasana, we're actually going to turn the feet out a little bit here. So I want you to put your heels to the chair, the legs are quite wide, and we're going to come forwards. Now when you do this, the back part of your pelvis starts to want to lift. So see how much of the back of the thighs, the back of the pelvis, can you keep in contact with the chair as you extend forwards. Keep the back of the neck in line with the spine, so don't lift the head too much. And see how much can you move your groins back and keep the breath fine and even. Okay, and slowly coming up. Well done. Okay, so we're going to come now into a Dandasana forward bending action from the seat of the chair, and I'm just going to show. You have to just get your chair to a correct distance away from the wall. Lengthen the tailbone, move the abdomen back. You're going to extend the arms up and come forwards like this. So it's just a hinging action at the hips. So get yourself set up with your chair, with your wall. You're sitting right on the front edge of that chair, so you're lengthening the hamstrings. You get the heels as much to the wall as you can. It's quite tough if your ankles are a little bit stiff to do that, but you do what you can to get the heels as close to the wall as you can. Roll your shoulders back and down, lift your chest, move the sacral region in, lift the frontal pelvic bones up. Imagine you still had that blanket here across the frontal pelvic bones. Inhale, lift up. Now don't bend your spine, just fold and take your hands to the wall. So you hinge at the hips, keeping the ears between the arms, and breathe and lift your chest. Lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, come back up and release the arms down. Well done. So we're coming now for Utthita Padangusthasana 1, and we're going to work with the leg across the body as well. So I'm just going to show you how that's going to work. I'm going to press away from the wall, and you're going to use the belt for your Utthita Padangusthasana 1. Then we're going to bend this leg, take it across the body, and if you're able to, you will stretch that leg out. But it may be that just taking it across the body is as much as you can do. For those with hip replacements, you just keep the leg in an upright position. You don't take it across the body. All right, so press the feet into the wall, push away from the wall, lengthen your lower back. So get a firm contact with the feet to the wall. So you're in a Supta Tadasana action. Bring your right leg in, place the belt around the ball of your right foot, and stretch the right leg up. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, you will not get your leg to 90 degrees. It will be down at more at this level. That's fine. So you can take your leg to wherever it will go, but you have to push back the right thigh. So I want you to take your right hand onto your right thigh and push the thigh bone towards the wall. So you're lengthening that side. So if your leg is further down, that's fine. You can also get that action, lengthening in your right waist and pushing the top of the thigh bone away from you. Release and take the belt in your left hand. Take your right hand, place it flat to the floor, just slightly away from your right hip. Bend your right leg and take your right leg across to the left. And then with that action, extend that right leg away from you. Those who find it difficult to straighten the leg, then you just go to where you go to. It's a very strong action, particularly if you're tight in your outer hip or your IT band, which is the area along the outer thigh. Releasing, taking that leg down and bringing your left leg up. Place the belt, bring the leg to 90 degrees if you're able to. Hold the belt in your right hand, place your left hand onto your left thigh bone and push your left thigh bone away as you're pulling your left foot towards you with your right hand. So pull on the belt with the right hand, push on the thigh bone with the left hand. Keep your right leg firm and active. So keep the kneecap lifting, the thigh muscle lifting on that downward leg. Good. And now place your left hand just to the side of your left hip, palm facing down. Bend your left leg, take it across the body to the right, and then see, can you stretch it out a little? So we're not twisting the body here, we're just keeping the left shoulder firmly down on the floor, the left hand firmly down on the floor, and bring the leg back to the center and releasing. Roll to your right and coming up. So we're coming now for a Supta Sukhasana action for our Shavasana. You can have a blanket for your head, you can have a bolster for your legs, but this is not mandatory. You can put a pillow under the legs if you like. If this is not comfortable for you, then just come into your Shavasana in the normal way. But for some people this will be a nice way to work. So you cross your legs, have your head onto your blanket, turn the palms to face the ceiling, let the abdomen be soft, and let your eyes close.